Ah. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Inklings Behind the Scene. This is JS Bray, and today is a really exciting episode. Now, what you're looking at is an animated face, right? This is animated real time. I know that I'm going to get into you something just you might be losing your mind when you think about this, but or you may not believe this. Let me prove to you this is animated in real time, right here. All right, and this episode, if you can see here, right here to the corner, we are animating right here. I'm using this really brilliant software called Adobe Character Animator, and I've rigged a character with my face, my visage, and as you can see, my little bald head in the back. I also have my little bald head right here. This is a real-time animated episode. We're going to try something totally different. It's something I've been wanting to work on for a while. It's also going to tie into how we build animations. So let me cut back over here. So if the lip sync is a little wonky, it's because we're working with brand new technology and we're figuring out the lip sync as far as it follows a webcam. But again, let me just tell you, thank you so much for being here. This is our first episode that is going to be fully animated. Let me show you some of the stuff that I can do. Watch, look at these eyebrows. Yeah, you see that? That is, I'm going to lift them up, and all right, this is quite fun. So here we are. Today we are going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about voicing characters. I'm going to give an announcement about for those who have submitted to do our voice act auditions. And then I'm just going to kind of walk us through a little bit of creative process. And because this episode is going to be a little bit different, I'm excited, like super excited to just kind of dive into Inklings and some of the technology that we're going to be using for our voice acting and what we can be expecting. So let's cut over to our next scene. Let's see here what we got here. I'm going to cut us over to the iPad. All right, let's take a look here. Now, and this I want to kind of like write down what we're going to cover. If you were followed by any means, any sort of follow along before now, you know that this is a brand new episode. Each episode gets a little different. So, like I said, we're going to cover three things. So, first thing is we're going to talk about voicing characters. We're going to talk about little updates. So, updates for our auditions. We are going to talk about a little bit of the technology, so more behind the scenes tech stuff, and also process. So I guess process. So that's the process. We can almost call that 3B. All right. Let's get going. Let's talk about the first part. As when we've talked about this in the past, when you're doing animation, um, animation is what makes animation so great is that it possesses this magic that we all want to see. Uh, I mean, if you're like anything like me, you want to see the magic of things come to life. And I personally just love it to death. I love seeing the magic of animation come to life. Let me see if I'm going to back up here. Let me see here. This is something kind of new. I haven't done this before. This is software, if you want to know, because I'm just going to talk about the process. And I do apologize if I'm kind of wired today. I'm very excited. Um, this just seems like such a exciting episode because we get to animate real time. And now that I got some technology working the way that I want it to do, we get to do some things that really don't happen all the time and a true real time live stream. So let's just talk about here. I want to talk about voice acting, and I want to talk about what I know. And some of the people who are going to speak to greater lengths about this are the professionals. But voice acting is like this you know, a voice. So your voice is more than just the way you sound, right? We know that a character has the potential to bring about all sorts of larger than life attributes of someone. And so when we think about a character, we think about the attributes. Tributes. So, and if they are loud, They're very loud, and if they're quiet, they're very quiet. And the sense of what makes a character work, a voice's character work, is more than just the texture and more than just the qualities, the timbres, and all that stuff like that. It's understanding there's these subtleties that go into understanding your voice. Now, when I was a child, my sisters and I, we spent a great deal of time watching cartoons. We watch cartoons all the time, and this is not to disparage my parents. I just want to kind of point this out. I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, but because we spent a lot of time at home, or a lot of time, the television was our babysitter. Okay, and I'm not saying this to bring about any sort of controversy. I'm just telling you that this was we were children of the '80s, so the '80s were different. And so, when TV was our babysitter, uh, when TV is your babysitter, you pay attention to things that you may have not pay attention in every day. And so, back in the day, and those are talking the '80s and the early '90s to early '90s, that's when we'd watch cartoons. And if you wanted to watch cartoons back then, you had to wait. Usually, it was after about 2 to 3 o'clock p.m. is when cartoons would show up. And we started to pay attention to this time because one, we were home from school, but this was exciting for us. This was exciting for us to hear these characters on screen that for us, nothing else mattered when it came to media and entertainment. Nothing else. Cartoons were the one thing that was made for kids. So made for kids. And if you're older than me, you might remember what came on after all the cartoons. And this is kind of the low lineup that they used to have for television. What came on after all the cartoons, and this is if you're one of my disposition, the reason why you may not like this show is because it came on after cartoons was called MASH. And MASH was a dramedy, right? It was a dramedy, and once you saw MASH line up, you were like, oh darn it, no more cartoons, no more made for children's entertainment. And but those days are gone. Those days are gone. We children are so spoiled in such a wonderful way that they can watch cartoons 24/7 all the time without any sort of care in the world. And I don't want to change that. I'm not asking for us to change that. But what I just want to point out is that when you were a kid and you had a sense of scarcity, when there's a little bit of scarcity involved, you have a tendency to pay closer attention. And so if I said to you, I'm just moving this over here just to make some more room. So if I said to you that there is only two cookies left in the house, and we're not going to be able to get any more cookies, you might go, oh, okay, that's unfortunate. But you know what? You're going to spend a lot more time thinking about those last two cookies than if you were like, there's infinite amount of cookies. Have at them. And that's why I think it's important. If you really want to develop your voice, you need to zero in on the characters that you like. You need to zero in, and I'm going to give you some examples of what I think is a really great character, and I'm going to give you just more or less cursory knowledge so that you can go around and listen for them yourself. So the classic, iconic cartoon characters, when folks think about them, and I'm just going to tell you, there's going to be like the Mickey Mouses, right? There's Mickey Mouse. We know that Mickey Mouse has a distinct sound, but really that talk like this, that super high pitched voice, the high pitched voice, we know that that's Mickey Mouse. We high pitched. We know that I'm about to tie this all together. Daffy Duck, and which is Daffy Duck, which I love. Daffy Duck, and then you have Donald Duck, right? These two characters, these duck characters, they both have a lisp. And when we think of a duck, we think of them having sort of a lisp. Like they either have like like Daffy Duck, suckering succotash. She's like kind of like has a lispy sound, or you have Donald where it's a cracky sound. These silly voices, right? They did not exist, um, like without somebody developing them. From the marble mouth to the different sort of sounds that you have back in the day. And I really feel like up until like the '80s, we had like the golden era of voice actors. And these voice actors went out of the way to develop dialect, flavor, texture, giving all this sort of nuance to their characters. So my homework for you, and as we've been developing this, and I'm telling you this now because why this matters to the Inklings behind the scenes is this because this is something we're looking for. We're creating a rubric. And I will show you this rubric, not this stream, but at some point I'm going to show you the rubric of what we're looking for with these voice actors. And we made this audition. And just if you're new to the stream and you've not seen this before, we have an open call. The open call closed on the 15th, and we're giving folks until the 20th who've applied to audition. And we have a rubric that we're creating that's going to be looking for originality. We're going to be looking for uniqueness of voice, and we're going to be looking for range within the voice. We're looking for texture and timbres and all these different stuff like that. We're going to give all these different sort of rubrics so that when people give an audition, we're going to give them a grade and we're telling them what they like about it. And we're also going to give them a little animated character like this. While this is a real-time live animated character, we're going to give them something that looks even better, in my opinion. And we're going to be using the characters from the show. And so why I mentioned Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck and Donald Duck is these characters have distinct sounds. Have you heard one person even imitating these characters, you know who they are. And that is a really powerful thing. We want characters to have such an iconic sound. And not just because, we watched these cartoons when we were kids, but because really these characters, the goal is this is going to be a hit show, right? And if this is going to be a hit show, then this needs to have characters that are really, really memorable. So let's cut back over here. I'm going to continue with this drawing part and why I'm going to talk about the process. So developing your voice, okay? Developing your voice requires a very, very keen ear for hearing things that are memorable. And a lot of times when you are beginning in sort of your craft, we have a tendency, and I say we, and speaking in a royal sense, only because I'm trying to be kind of shortcuts for what I'm talking about, is that you kind of come up with a color palette. So voices have like their own like little color palette of textures, dialect, uh, idiosyncrasies. So let's just say idiom. So idiosyncrasies. They also have one of the things I think they have a certain flavor to them that makes them unique and distinct. And then, distinct. You know what? I'm a doctoral student. I don't know why I can't spell today. Um, just for that, distinct and furthermore, iconic. And when you're doing sort of a character piece, like when you look at a character, we're going to say, imagine we have a character that we're analyzing what this character should sound like. We want to bring them to life. Just like the animator, like myself, I'm bringing these characters to life. They begin from scripts and they go to storyboards. They sound a certain way in my head, but I also know that the beauty of art is that once I've given this to the world, once I've given this to other creatives, it's no longer mine. My character's eyes is doing something weird. Is anybody noticing that? The eyes are sort of bouncing round and around. So let's just say right here, for example, let's get back into this character piece. You want to create an iconic voice, right? Well, and do that, to create an iconic voice, you have to think about the audience. You have to think about the audience. Because if you're talking to folks, and especially if you're talking to like children, kids, kids like silly voices. Kids, they like a silly voice. But if you were to give a silly voice to a job interview, unless it's for as a kids media position, there's a strong chance that you may not be taken seriously. If you had like a SpongeBob voice, right? If somebody uses there's a talented voice actor who does the voice of SpongeBob, and because of that, that means there's a great deal of effort that goes into building these characters, and so we know that each voice sort of has a tone for the group. And if you have a deep voice, high voice, I'm open to all the different styles. I'm very much open to what we want to hear from people. Really want that creative flair. But at the same time, I want us to articulate why we like something. So when we give this decision to our voice actors, we're not giving a decision based upon just like shooting from the hip. We're saying, oh, I like this particular voice style. And then when we call people back for our next audition, we'll tell them what we liked about this and what we thought maybe could be improved upon. Because this is an inclusive project. I want to bring people in and I want to hire people that may or may not have had professional experience. If people have had professional experience, that's wonderful. That does not by any means omit them from this position. It might make it easier for us to work with them, but I also want to do this in such a way that we're showing the production happening in real life. And so I just kind of want to keep moving on because I feel like there's a lot of energy that I'm giving up on just talking about voices and being animated. So we mentioned we talk about the other two things, right? Our updates for our auditions. Okay, let's talk about the updates for the auditions. I want to tell you something that I cannot get over of how excited I am. So for those who are interested, okay, we received, let me here, I have a number. So we received in just a short amount of time that we put out the audition, the open call received over. Just give yourself a guess of what the number was. If you paid attention, you know, we received over 300 plus submissions. Right? What that shows to me, 300 submissions, that people want to be a part of this project. That people with 0 to 100 of experience want to be a part of this project. That means a great deal to my heart. It really does. And because that, and I want to do everyone well, we received over 300 plus submissions. We're going to be bringing these people either on the stream, either through a certain creative way. Like one of my thoughts is, and this is, I'm just telling you because we're building this out loud. One of my thoughts is to do this, and I'll just kind of just draw it out for you. One of my thoughts is that while many people gave in audio recordings and some gave in video recordings, is to kind of line up the scripts like this. To take the take that we're going to do, right? So we take, you know, let me just do this real quick. So let's just say we take of the voices, and this, imagine for a moment, these are the voice actors, okay? We're going to take this person right here, and actually let's just put little heads there for everybody. All right. So let's say this is B, A, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now let's imagine these letters represent 8 different takes. All right, let's see here. Let's imagine that it represents 8 different takes of voice actors, right? So of these voice actors who are trying to read across um, this particular character. Let's. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get it here a little bit smoother, so I'm not just jibber jabber. All right. Let's just say they're all going to read for Poe. Okay, and so they're all going to do take A for Poe, right? I will have cut and selected of these voice actors together, that little line that they're going to do, and then I'm going to show them reading those lines, and then I'm going to show them on the play. This is just one potential idea. Okay, I'm going to play a video, play a take. I'm going to read the script, and so that everyone can kind of see how it works. There's a bit, maybe for some folks it might seem embarrassing that I'm going to play their audition in front of everybody, but also I want to get them exposure. And I want to get, for those who are just really talented and need some more work and need some more experience, or just deserve the limelight, because every one of our voice actors deserve to be heard. Every single one of them deserve to be heard. So this is an example of what I'm envisioning potentially is to take all these voice actors, line them up, place them on the stream, play each video, and then play them back and see which one we like. And then afterwards go through and animate each one. So animate this one, animate this one, animate this one, animate this one, and then show, okay, here's just the readings of these voice actors. And afterwards, we're going to show from the readings, we're going to show the character. So we'll have character. And the character will be here, and the actor will be here, and then we'll show them reading side by side. To kind of give you an example of how I like to listen to it, I like to think about what the expressions, because many of these voice actors are really, really expressive. And that's that's just a rough take of what I'm thinking about. What would be kind of be fun to do is we're going to take these voice actors, align their take next to their audition, and then show sort of the group, the audience of what it looks like. And then I'm going to also show the rubric, and the rubric. I hope to have that rubric ready to show everyone by Friday, and then. Also, the last thing I really want to talk about is it's like the 20th is the deadline. So at the end of the day, the 20th, so we'll cut back over. So the 20th is the last day. If you have auditioned, so of the 300 plus folks who are paying attention to that, you have until May 20th, 11:59 p.m. to submit to me your auditions, and at that point, it's going to be too late. But it really shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. Please, I prefer videos. Okay, this was a bit of a crazy episode, but I want to say thank you so much for coming in. My goodness, thank you so much for being part of our stream. We're growing. We've already broke 7,000 subscribers, which is just blows my mind. And I wanted to say this was going to be moving forward. I'm going to tighten up this animation. This was going to get more and more fleshed out as we move along. Maybe even add a body to my animated head. And I just want to, like just articulate that this is just such an exciting process seeing come to fruition. So, recap. Wednesday, our stream. My goal is to be start showing everyone auditions that people have submitted in, starting with video. Then I'll do show people audio. I have a way that I can show you some audio, and uh, and then afterwards, I'm going to show you folks maybe on Friday, showing you actual animated takes. That's the goal. We'll see if it works out come Friday. But please feel free to reach out if you have any questions to Nat or myself. Nat's email is nat@mrbray.com. You can reach out to JS, myself, or Jesse for those who are my friends. You can reach out to Jesse at mrbray.com. And please continue to like and subscribe. We're exploding. We're building this thing out in front of everybody, and I'm really excited to see how this is coming together. So, and if this has been out of the norm for you, that's my goal is to break what you think is normal. And yeah, please feel free to let us know your thoughts and reach out. And yeah, my goodness, I hope you have a blessed day. You take care. Ooh.